game. So, firstly, just congrats on getting to play season 50. How
Thank you.
how was that? I guess like getting that initial contact to say, "Hey, we actually want you to come back and play this game," because that must
Yeah.
just be, I can't even imagine the emotions that must you must feel when you get that call.
Oh my gosh. It was incredible. Really, yeah. Honestly, one of my favorite moments from the whole experience. It's just such a long process and I know it was so competitive to get on the season and
Yeah.
there's so many people who were deserving and would have obviously been amazing picks. Yeah, just really, really grateful to be picked.
Yeah, well, look, you are an amazing pick. I'm biased, but I think
Thank
you're a
you.
great pick to come back. And it's funny because like you get to go out there, and like I know like you love Survivor. Was there anyone, I guess, even like pre going out there that you were like, oh, I really would love to see them come play again, and they were out on the beach?
They were there or weren't
Yeah,
there?
that they were there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, it was a lot of the old school players, the
Yeah.
players, from the early seasons. I just thought that was so awesome to have them there, just to honor like the whole cultural impact of the show, and obviously it was that's what brought it onto the scene was those early seasons. So
Yeah.
players like Colby and Jenna, seeing them was awesome. Sari, Coach, all these sort of old school, old era folks was awesome. And it's not to knock the new era, but I see them all the time. So
Yeah.
it was great to have the old schoolers come out and play.
Yeah, not only come out and play, but also share their toe rings with you, which is, I gotta
Yeah.
say, that's it wasn't didn't have that in
That
my
was so
bingo
funny.
list,
I
Jarmo.
I had completely forgotten that happened until they showed it on screen. Like it was
Yeah.
so funny. Like I couldn't believe that. So yeah, it was fun.
No, it's so fun. I like when you have someone like Coach out there, and you talk about the old school players. For me, like I'm the same. Like when you see these people who I kind of define like your childhood growing up, and you see them, and they're these giant characters. What was it like to actually play with someone like Coach out there
It was
and be
it
next to him?
was yeah, it was so fun, honestly. Just with Coach specifically, he's just he's an endless source of stories, and he brings like just a good energy to camp that maybe people wouldn't expect, and it's like an entertaining energy which you're always really looking for out there. So that was really fun. Yeah, there were a lot of funny moments from those early college days that obviously didn't make air. But yeah, coach was hilarious. Like he got his calf injuries, and we were like rehabbing him and doing like physical therapy exercises, and there was all sorts of great stuff.
Yeah, I love you talking about Carlo as well because original Carlo, I didn't really know quite where you stood, and I'd love
Yeah,
to get your perspective on that as well. Obviously,
yeah.
like you have Camilla and Dee there originally with you as well. Jonathan's there.
Mhm.
Can you talk a little bit the relationship at that period of the game, and had you gone to a tribal council where you feel like the votes might have gone?
Yeah, so really how it started to shake out was it was sort of as they showed the Tiffany D Camilla alliance. That was like very out in the open. Like they were
Yeah,
really like they would go off like all together for like a really long time, and like they're getting whatever it may be like firewood or bamboo, but like they'd be gone for a while, and
yeah,
then like obviously people picked up on that, and particularly Chrissy was really like hammering that and being like they're those three women, like they're a trio, we have to break that up. And that like got back to the women one way or another, and they would sort of targeted Chrissy in return. So those are where the main bullets were flying, and
yeah,
then I would say Chrissy more had like Jonathan and Coach like sort of in her camp. I wouldn't say that was like a trio to the same equivalency of like the D Camilla Tiffany trio. And then sort of by default, like Mike and I were kind of like good with both ends of those alliances. Um, I think I felt in the moment like tighter with D, Tiffany, Camilla, like as a group. I think they were more like a cohesive group, so it was a little bit safer to be tight with them.
yeah.
I was, I had a good alliance relationship with Coach, good alliance relationship with Chrissy, Jonathan, to a lesser degree on Kahlo, and we were fine. We were, not like at each other's throats or anything. But then we sort of got a bigger alliance going on the swap tribe. So I
Yeah.
think push came to shove, it probably would have been Chrissy, but like you never like sometimes, it just takes actually like losing to sometimes it like shakes things up in ways you wouldn't anticipate.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people hide some of their cards until it's like really time to go to tribal, and then they like say, if they might want to do something different. But no,
Yeah.
I felt good on Kahlo. I thought I was in a good spot with Mike. Sort of, we could have gone either way, even though I think we probably would have sided with like D Tiffany Camilla.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, seeing how it ultimately plays out. I'll come to that in a second. I do want to talk a little bit
Yeah.
about, I guess, the your edit more broadly, because I know you're a shooter in the game, and the way you narrate the season is like top tier, and on both seasons, like you're one of
Thank
the,
you.
personally, in my perspective, one of the best narrators we've had in
Wow, thank you.
Survivor
I
broadly. Like
appreciate it.
I no,
Thank you.
I was genuinely so excited to see you come back. I think you like represent a lot of us fans, and
Oh, thanks.
to see your struggles through, and I don't know how you personally perceived the way that the edit on 50 showed you, but I genuinely, I know this is probably a weird thing to say, but I actually genuinely really appreciated the authenticity of like the struggle of the post game of Survivor, because I think
Hmm.
I'm lucky enough I get to chat to like all of you guys, but I also do Australian Survivor
Yeah.
and have for a decade. And,
Yeah.
Australian Survivor right now has the theme of redemption. And I really thought your story arc was redemption. And
Hmm.
so, you carry the scars of 46. And I
Hmm.
was really curious, like, what you took away from, I guess, the rewatch of 46 and the subsequent couple of years from that
Hmm.
period into the game that you played. And I guess even it's probably a two-parter, it's a big question, but even then playing the game and like the stuff that comes up when you're out there as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can definitely answer that. So, I mean, I guess to start, coming into 50, I think, the way I sort of viewed my game in 46 was like I think I played a really solid game, like strategically, made really good decisions throughout the season.
Yeah.
I think what I at least my like reflection on it was like it lacked like a little bit of like flashiness or just like a little bit of tr the transparency, not to the point of being obvious, but like just wanting to be a little bit rougher around the edges so people can kind of see a little bit more of what you're doing. So
Yeah.
I want to come into 50 and just play like a little bit looser and like really work on like allowing myself to make a move that might be like at least partly driven by like emotion or whatever. Not that I wasn't like affected by that on 46 at all, but just kind
Yeah.
of making that type of adjustment was kind of my attitude going in. And I think that for better or worse, I guess I executed on that, but something that like I think is worth clarifying, like given like the edit and what they showed is like I didn't like have no strategic reasons
Yeah.
for targeting Rizzo. I think it was
Yeah.
just more, it was just um it was, a crisp and
Mm,
clear narrative to show it that way, which I totally get why they,
yeah.
decisions. And it was not like a dishonest portrayal at all. Obviously, they're portraying, me versus Rizzo, and I think that was a compelling way to do it. But I thought that, basically, um, Rizzo, the main sort of narrative reason to target Rizzo was that he's an unknown quantity coming into the
Yeah.
season. And I thought that reason basically disappears the longer he gets to stay in the game. And so if you don't, kind of take that shot, people are just like, well, I know him now, so I'm not like that doesn't matter anymore. And I thought he would just kind of be able to go far. And then the other reason I wanted to target him is because I sort of had the attitude of like, oh, it's the pre-merge, like let's keep your hands with as little blood as possible, like
Yeah.
bring as many allies into the merge as you can. And I viewed Rizzo as someone who was like the least connected. So that I thought there would be fewer ripple effects by taking him out there versus either turning on anyone from Kahlo or Cerise certainly would have connections. Devin would certainly have connections, things like that. So there was definitely a balance there for sure.
Yeah. Oh, look, I completely agree with you. And it's the survivors told through like a very narrow lens, and they have to present things
Yeah.
in a way that
Yeah.
I come
And
across.
I think they do a better job than people
Yeah.
think.
Agreed.
Yeah. But yeah, there's always more to it for sure.
Yeah, look, I did see a post this morning about the Chiz God taking over the mantle of the Riz. The conversation on the like with him in the boat as well. I know that's probably come up a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Like I assume that on Survivor, like you often would have conversations in mornings and like random times. Like, can you talk us through that scene specifically?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't remember exactly the context, whether I truly was like went up to him and like woke him up or something. He would sleep in the boat, and we had morning chats out by the boat, just like about totally randomly, like throughout the
Yeah,
time there. And so I don't remember like exactly like the how I like went over to the boat. But I remember my definitely my purpose for that conversation. I guess the broader context was like in my mind, I was never like loyal to keeping that secret. Like I was never trying to like just keep that only to myself.
yeah,
I don't remember the order. I genuinely don't, and I know that like came up on the episode, but I told from my perspective independently, like without asking Rizzo for permission or like anything or having like ulterior motives. Like I told Jonathan D and Camilla because I was like these are my original tribe mates. Like I just told them all
yeah,
I'm loyal to them. I'm not loyal to Rizzo, and I didn't view that as an issue obviously, unless they weren't loyal to me, which they weren't, which
yeah.
was the ultimate problem there. So that was kind of the context of that. But what I was worried about was I didn't know what Rizzo was doing with that information. I didn't know if that was something he was trying to shop around to like everyone else and
Yeah.
try to work different angles there, and potentially try to like create divisions among like the Kalo tribe by being like maybe telling people because it was such an outlandish
It is super
thing to
outlandish.
hear.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
I thought maybe he would be telling people like different details to try to like make it seem like, maybe like I didn't tell the full story or the full truth or things like that. So I was trying to gauge like what he was doing. Like with his idle information. That was like the purpose of me doing that. Yeah.
yeah. And look, we see multiple confessionals where he does talk to people about it specifically. It does add an
Yeah.
interesting strategy in the future. Like you could just make up random artists like the Sealer Mode, or like
Well,
who
honestly, like
knows?
until the Zach Brown challenge, there was a part of me that was like, is this real? Like, is he like
Yeah,
making this up? Like, because that was kind of a big theme that I remember that they were really hitting on, and even like the casting process of like or was it in the casting? Yeah, because it was the fan vote. We knew it was the fan vote, so
the
they
fan
they
vote. Yeah,
they were because that was going on before the cast was even finalized, um and so something they were hammering home was like, it gives the players a lot of freedom to like, you could make up stuff about the
yeah,
the the idols or the advantages. So I was like, maybe this is like someone's attempt at just completely fabricating something. But when Zach Brown showed up, I was like, oh, there probably is like a celebrity theme. So
yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
no, there definitely there definitely
Yeah.
is. So
And there was. Yeah.
there definitely was. So I'm conscious of time as well. I do have to let you go. I'll just ask the last question, which is always a concept of gratitude. And for me, like watching you play this game twice, it's been a privilege to watch you play twice. I think you are
Thank you.
genuinely underrated, and I hope that you do get that third time to have redemption. I'd love a redemption style theme on US Survivor at some point. But what do you take away from these experiences you've had, and what are you grateful for from this Survivor experience you've just been through?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to be grateful for. I mean, I've had so many crazy opportunities that have come from being on Survivor. Like, I got to go on Jimmy Fallon, like,
Yeah.
lots of amazing things. Even like today, like, just like talking to all the press folks is always really fun. It's really cool to have people like care about like, not like necessarily my life, but like, my Survivor experience and the fans. Fans are always great. Love meeting fans like around, like just on the street, like whatever it may be. So there's just so much there. And then like the production side of things, like they work so hard at like making it just like the absolute best show it can be, like at every level, like from the camera folks, the audio folks, like, higher up production, everything, challenge team. Like there's just like so much love for the show. So it makes it really, really fun to be like a castaway for sure.
Yeah, I love that. I love hearing that as well. Congrats on getting to play. Congrats on getting to
Thank you.
be on 50 specifically. And
Thank
I
you.
I do think there's something special about this. Like when you look back through the history of Survivor, there's seasons 8, like
Yeah.
20, like 16 as well, but 20 and like game changers as well. Like the ones where you have like full returnees, they really do stand out. And to be on such an
Yeah.
iconic cast, I think, yeah, you're still young. You still have a chance to come back and go if you want to.
We'll
But
see. We'll see. You never
but
know.
but it's cool, and I thanks for getting to be part of that and share your story because I
Of
it's a
course.
story that needs to be told, man. So thanks for this and thanks for the chat and best of luck and enjoy the rest of the season and everything
Thanks.
that comes up.
Thanks, Ryan.